What's going on, world? It's your main man, Kareem A. Rashid, the voice and your host of Clearing the Wreckage. Yes! We got another great episode in store for you today. I don't know what you got going on. You could be driving to work, but all I ask is that you please pay attention to the road. Or you could be at work on a lunch break trying to get a quick sneak peek into this episode. Please clock back into work on time. Or you could be doing something very important, and that is on the toilet. Just please make sure you flush. Yes. What's going on, wreckage clearers? Glad to have you here with me again for another great episode of Clearing the Wreckage. As I always do at the beginning of my episodes, because I am so filled with gratitude, I would love to say to you, thank you so much for being a part of this community, the wreckage clearing community. Yes, that is who we are. I'm so proud that you are here with me. I'm also grateful that you are sharing these episodes with your loved ones and whoever else you come in contact with, and you're letting them know about Clearing the Wreckage podcast. Very, very touched, and I'm very appreciative for you. I like to say thank you for accepting my invitation on this journey and walking alongside of me as I share all of my wreckage with you. Wow. It feels great to be listened to and just to walk in unison and be one with you guys. So thank you so much for that. This episode is the death of my old identity part 3. Yes, we are going to divulge into this again. Kareem, why are you on repeat again? Because there was a lot of death going on with my identity. And it was time for it to be removed. It was time for my skin to be shed just like a snake. And it was time for me to go into a cocoon just like a caterpillar does. I want to ask a couple of questions before we start off to get this conversation started. We're at our favorite coffee shop. You got your latte. I got my cafe Americano. We're hanging out. We're chilling. And what is it that comes to your mind? What do you think about when I say identity? When it comes to identity, what is it that you think about? Let's say that we're meeting for the first time. I say, hey, my name's Kareem. You say, hey, my name is, James. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me about yourself. What is it that comes to your mind? What are you going to tell me? How are you going to identify yourself? Does family come to your mind? Does the place you're born come to your mind? Well, my name's James. I was born in such and such. What about your gender? Does that come to mind? What about your job? That's a good one. How about your religion? If you want to tell me more about yourself, I wonder if that pops up in your head as well. I also wonder, does your state of being maybe come to mind? Do you use the word I am or I'm in front of certain things to describe yourself? I'm tired. I'm confused. What about your race? And I know that from my eyes, I will be able to see your race, but maybe you want to dive a little bit more into your background or your ethnicity. And, you tell me that you come from Turkey, so you're Turkish. I'm from Africa, so I'm African. from India, so I'm Indian, Asian, black, white, Latin, all the above, all those ethnicities. How about when you see someone else? Let's take, for an example, a person that may be on the street corner with a sign asking for food or money. Do you identify them as homeless? I wonder if you put the word homeless in front of person. Do you say, oh, that's a homeless person? What about if you were adopted? Do you identify yourself as adopted or fostered? Let's say, for instance, you have a disability. Do you identify yourself as paraplegic, quadriplegic, bipolar, blind, deaf, mute, depressed, anxious? I'm anxious. I'm an anxious person. I wonder. I'm asking these questions to you because this is the time where I get to know you. Maybe you identify yourself as broken because you were abandoned or abused or bullied or even treated differently than others. One of my favorites, do you consider or identify yourself as a likable person? I am very liked because I have 1 million followers on social media. What about identifying yourself as the opposite? I'm not liked so much because, well, I only have 100 followers. Do you identify yourself as less than or better than or equal? What about success? Oh, I made $100,000 this year. Next year I'm going to make $140,000. I am successful. I have made my first $1 million, and the next year I'm going to make, $10 million because of this company that I built. I am very successful. Do you identify yourself as that? Well, as we can see, right? As you ponder on those questions, you can see that there are so many ways that we can identify ourselves. What if I told you that your identity is being constructed as soon as you come out of the womb? Would you believe me? Would you give me the time of the day to explain myself? Would you look at me like I'm stupid and say, nah, Kareem, that's not true. My identity, it's just my identity. When I'm born, that's my identity. I'm born such and such, and I already have my name and all these things, and that may be true, but what if your identity is being constructed from the moment you come out the womb? From the moment you're birthed? Let's say, for instance, who knows? You could have been left at a fire station, a little baby left there, and 2 adults come up, or maybe even one, picks you up, and they name you. Then they take you, and then you get a birth certificate, something that gives you identity, right? Oh, the birth certificate says, this is Michael J. Sean Walker. Born on September 4, 2005. I apologize if there is someone listening by the name of Michael J. Sean Walker. I'm just making up a fictitious name. And he was born on September 4, 2005 at, Clearville Medical Center or Clearville Hospital. Hell, even the hospital that you were born at becomes part of your identity. Now, to you, you're not being held by 2 random people. Those people that picked you up, you're not just being held by 2 random people. These are your parents. You look at them and you feel nurtured and comforted. You know that you are connected. You know that you are attached. And you know that you are a part of them. Some way, somehow, I don't know how that happens, but you feel that energy, you feel that connection when your little baby eyes connect with their eyes, your identity is being constructed. Let me tell you. Now, I just used that as an example, but most cases, especially in the United States, if you're born in a hospital or wherever you're born, you're held by one or two people right after you come out of the womb, and they name you and they tag you. And you're also given a number, a 9-digit one to be exact, to identify you. Oh man, little did we know that we were just a number. According to the U.S. government, because you will have this number for every single thing. This, my friends, is your identifier. This is how, oh my goodness, we can tell that this is you. You are Michael J. Sean Walker because of these 9 digits that you just gave us, and we can tell you apart from all the other 7 billion people in the world. Yep. And then family becomes a vital part of your identity, right? I mean, it just does. Whether you are the only child or you could have, 7 or 8 siblings, who knows? Whether you're the oldest, the middle, a twin, a triplet, so forth, so on, this becomes your identity. Then you were told, or should I say taught, how to be, what to do, how not to be, what not to do. Yes, you were. You were given a set of instructions or morals or values by the people who are attached to your identity. That will be your parents. Even if you are the youngest, like me, your siblings probably taught you things or told you what to do, how to be, what not to do, what to say. Probably the only thing that you learned on your own was to crawl and walk. That's probably the only thing you learned on your own. I'm telling you. Nobody had to teach you how to crawl. You just got on the ground and you were like, oh, and you just started doing it. Eventually, you started crawling to the table, the nearest coffee table, and you started trying to pull yourself up with all your little might and strength. And you were able to pull yourself up, and you were able to stand on your 2 feet. And your parents and whoever else were around was like, oh my God, they're standing up. Look at them. And then on your own, you were able to walk. Now you could debate that and go, nah, my mom was right there, egging me on, encouraging me to walk toward her. Yes, she might have encouraged you, but you walked to her. She didn't pick you up and move you toward her. You walked to her. So those are probably the only 2 things. Or if you're like me, I learned a couple more things on my own, I think. I learned how to tie my shoes on my own. I think they showed me, but no one actually taught me. They just showed me. But then I kept messing up and I got it on my own. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But those 2 things specifically, I guarantee, you learn to crawl on your own and you learn to walk on your own. The rest were instructions. Instructions given by someone else. This is how you hold your spoon when you eat, Kareem. Do not get up from the table until all your food is finished off your plate. You were given instructions. When you get done eating, you can go up to your room. It's time for bed. Go ahead and cover yourself up. Put on your pajamas. You were taught how to put on clothes. You're taught all these things. And then you go to school and you're taught by other people. They call them teachers. And even in the American education system, man, you're taught by different levels. Kindergarten through 12. Then you graduate. Or you decide not to finish and you drop out. Let me tell you, your identity is being constructed. Trust me. Who's smarter, faster? I'm the best athlete. Who's most likely to succeed? The class clown, valedictorian, salutatorian, student council president, honor, AP courses, GPA status. Your identity is being constructed. Oh, well, such and such graduated with a 3.9 GPA, and I only graduated with a 2.67. I must be less smarter than this person. Your identity is being constructed. Oh, shoot, man, I graduated with a 4.0. I'm smarter than all y'all. I graduated with a 4.54. Can't tell me nothing. I'm smarter than all y'all. Your identity is being constructed. Trust me when I tell you. Oh, well, I decided to drop out of school. You know what they're going to call you? A high school dropout. That's your identity. Kareem is a high school dropout. They're going to label you with that, and that becomes your identity. Your identity, I can't tell you how much your identity is being constructed, y'all. Let's go past that. What about your parents' religion? What about, you're born and your parents are going to church every single Sunday, or your parents are practicing a different religion, whatever it is, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Your identity is being constructed. You are being taught these things. Then whatever happened in that household becomes your identity. Why? Because you attach it to you. Most of us will say, oh, I'm a product of divorce. You've attached divorce. You attach your parents' divorce, which had nothing to do with you, to your identity. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how we do this? Our identity is being constructed. Or you can have two parents that are still together, that stay together for, 40 plus, 50 years. You can attach your identity to that. I do not come from a broken household. My family is all put together. That's your identity. We continue to construct our identity for as long as we can, or should I say as long as we need to. This identity is being formed and constructed because we need structure. That is exactly why this identity is being constructed, because we need to stay in bounds and we need some type of structure. We need something to hold on to that gives us a sense of value, self-esteem, or let's just say ego. Because if I graduated with the 4.54, I'm better than everybody, and God doggone it, I'm finna be one of the most successful entrepreneurs. I'm finna build this business. I'm gonna go on to do big things. And the rest of you are less than. Ego. But this ego structure, I should call it, is there for a reason. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk about my identity, should we? Now, we've discussed my identity over those other two episodes, the first part and the second part. So today we're not going to divulge too much in the past and the things that made up my old identity. Yes, I will say is old because I am no longer that person. But that identity was needed, and it was there for a reason. As I said, to create some structure, to create some type of balance beam. Family is put there to give you a system, to have people that are there for you, to teach you, because you don't know jack doodle squat when you're birthed. It'd be different if we came here to this earth and we knew everything. Then we wouldn't need a family. We wouldn't need anyone around us, right? You know? But if I'm being honest and completely blunt, and excuse my language when I say this, but we need someone to wipe our tushy. We can't wipe it ourselves. We can't change our pamper. We can't bathe ourselves. We can't do anything. So obviously, family is there for a good reason. Now, we also have a lot of other things that comes with the construction of our identity, which were some of the questions that I asked. Religion. For me, mine was Islam/Christianity. You already know that because I've shared it with you. So we don't need to divulge into that. But I will include, therefore, I was a confused kid. That became my identity, confused. And also with that, I became a kid that strived and sought after perfection. Yes, because there were certain rules and regulations that I had to follow. And if I did not follow them, I received punishment. And then, I felt like a failure. And on top of that, if I failed my parents, I was not looking forward to that punishment. Let's just say that. Which created or constructed an identity in me of perfection, because I will not become a failure. I will be perfect in every single thing I do. Let's just take an example of something that happened when I was growing up. Bring home all A's. This is the expectation that we have of you as our son, to bring home all A's. You really shouldn't bring home anything less than an A. If you bring home a B, I guess that's okay, but we're still expecting perfection from you, son. And of course, that became my identity because that's what I started expecting of myself. No less than an A, Kareem. No less than an A. Oh, and don't let me bring home a C, which never happened, actually. Because I feared the punishment. I had to be perfect. Never happened. I never brought home a C. Well, you ain't finna catch me bringing home a C. No. But anyway, I digress. So we talked about on the last part 2, how perfection became part of my identity. How anger became a part of my identity. And that anger had to do a lot with me, trying my best to please everyone around me. And so with perfection, anger, and then fear was the other part of my identity that we discussed, right? Because I lived in fear because I had to be perfect. And if I wasn't perfect, I feared the outcome. Now let's talk about bullying. There was somebody in my family who used to bully me. Let's just say it for what it is. I used to get bullied by someone in my family, and there were certain things that I could not do. I never talked about this with y'all before, but there were certain things I couldn't do. There were certain ways that I couldn't even sit. If I sat a certain way, I was bullied. And I'm just using the word bully, but you can use your imagination from there. I mean, I was bullied. I was beat up because I sat a certain way. I couldn't even say certain things. If I said that, I was bullied. I was bullied into acting perfect. That became my identity. Which, along with that, became a lot of people pleasing and walking on eggshells, because I did not want to piss anybody off, because I knew the outcome. May I remind you, your identity is being constructed. Now, you wonder why it was time for that identity to die. We talked about how after my ex-fiance left, I went through this pain that I had never felt before. I was clean and sober, but I went through this pain. And I went through this stage of anger. I was mad at God. I was mad at everyone around me. I was mad at myself. I hated myself. Because I was no longer perfect. It must have had something to do with me why she left. Had nothing to do with me, by the way. We've already discussed that. But because of this people pleasing, because of this perfection that I was seeking after, and this fear, how it became part of my identity, that is how I lived. I lived in fear. I lived for perfection. And that was the standard that I had to reach. And so it must have been my fault. I must have failed at this. We talked about how everybody left. Of course, because of that abandonment, my identity was, I must be the reason. I am unworthy of love. We discussed how I wasn't told I love you growing up. Oh, well, it's because I don't deserve love. This identity was constructed. Now you wonder why it had to die. It was definitely time. And the crazy thing about it is that I did not even know what was happening. I was grieving my own identity, y'all. Oh my goodness. I was in denial that all this was happening. I was angry. I was bargaining with God. I was depressed. Just when am I going to come to the place of acceptance? Well, I thought I did, but it took a little bit longer than that. None of those things that I discussed is my actual identity. Even from the beginning, none of that. Family, gender, job, religion, all that stuff that I asked you, it's not my identity. Perfection is not my identity because I'm not perfect. Fear is not my identity because I was not created to fear. Anger was not my identity because I was not created to be in anger. And I could tell you a little story about that real quick. My mom, when I was inside of her, and when I was inside of her womb, my mother was ecstatic. She was happy. She was full of joy. So I know that anger does not reside in me. Now, y'all didn't know that. That's a little just juicy tidbit just to let you know. I was being formed inside of the womb of the most happy, joyful woman. You know why she was happy and joyful? Because her son before me passed away 2 hours after his birth. So she was ecstatic. Oh my gosh, I get to have another son. I get to have another child. So tell me why I come out the womb all mad. Well, I didn't come out mad. Later on, I was mad. And truthfully, I was mad at myself. I was mad at myself. I was mad at my family. I hated them for, not being there. I hated the fact that my parents got divorced. I hated all of that. I began to grieve my own identity, my own life. But again, as I said, there are reasons why these things happen. There are reasons why we must encounter pain, or like I would like to call it, necessary suffering. Because there is necessary suffering and there is unnecessary suffering. This suffering I did not cause. I didn't cause it. There were just things that were happening around me and that was happening on the inside of me that I did not understand. I was being pruned. The layers were being removed because it was time for that old identity to die. To get to the core, to get to know who I really am. To become a butterfly. To experience such a freedom I never felt before. But I had to be a caterpillar first. I had to. That's just the way it is. That's the way it goes. That's the cycle of life. I had to be a caterpillar first. Maybe you're going through necessary suffering right now. And I call it that because it may be time, it may be necessary for you to die, for that old identity to get removed, for that skin that needs to be shedded, so that you could put on new skin. It's time for you to replace the old pajamas that are dirty and put some new PJs on. But no, I love these pajamas, Mom. No, I never want to get rid of these. I want to wear these pajamas every night. These are my favorite. And you throw a temper tantrum. And you're like, no. And you stomp all up and down the ground. But Mom's like, I got to wash those. And secondly, they got holes all in them. We need to get rid of them. And you're fighting. No, Mom. That was me. No, I don't understand what is going on. Why am I going through all this pain? When you're in the thick of it, you may not get it. Maybe the caterpillar doesn't even know. Maybe when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, maybe it doesn't know. When it's crawling upon its belly on the earth, maybe he just thinks he's going to be a caterpillar all his life. Maybe when he gets to the cocoon, he is just experiencing darkness and thinks it's going to be like that forever. Oh my God, I'm going to constantly be in darkness forever. Oh, am I always going to be in this cocoon? Am I dead? Maybe the caterpillar's thinking that. I don't know. But just like the caterpillar, I had to be a baby first, right? You know, I had to be birthed. I had to learn how to crawl. I had to learn how to eat. I had to learn how to put my pants on. I had to do all these things. I had to learn how to walk on this earth first. So I had to be given some type of boundary, some type of structure. Because this is how it is in this place. And this is how you need to be in order to survive. The same with the caterpillar. Man, this is how I have to live just to survive. I got predators after me. It's all types of stuff happening around me. But I must learn to survive. So that is why we were given that structure. We were given that identity in the beginning. And that identity had to be formed. It had to be constructed to prepare me for not only the cocoon, but for when I turn into a beautiful butterfly. So right now, you could be going through so much pain, not understanding what is going on. That the things around you are affecting you. And they're affecting you so much that you're grieving, you're in pain, you're in tears, you're crying, you're screaming, you're yelling at everyone around you, you're angry. It's because it's time for you to go into the cocoon and rest. Put to death that old identity, be renewed, and turn into a beautiful butterfly. And I guarantee you that the caterpillar had no idea until that cocoon bursts apart, because his wings are spread and he's ready to fly. There may be some things that you will not understand in your first half of life, like I like to call it. It's a preparation to get you to your second half of life, to get you walking away from that old identity, away from the physical, hear me now, y'all hear me, away from the physical material plane. All of this ego structure that you have, everything that you think makes you you. Oh, I'm the best athlete ever, you know. Oh my God. I'm starting at this university next year. Oh, now I went to the NFL. I'm drafted. This is my identity. I'm an NFL football player. You're not an NFL football player. You're just a person that happens to play football. Oh, I'm a nurse. You're not a nurse. You're just a person that happens to do nurse work. That's not your identity. We've talked about this in the last episode. May I reiterate to you. But we, as humans, attach things to our identity. It is time to stop attaching. And just as the caterpillar does, it detaches from the earth. It completely detaches from the ground and finds a tree and makes a cocoon. And while it's in that state, they are completely off of the ground. Hear what I'm saying? Hear what I'm saying? It's time for you to fly. The pain may be so immense. The pain may be unbearable. It may feel unbearable. It's not going to be unbearable. It may feel unbearable. And you may want to give up. You may not understand. You may have crazy times. You may even have bad thoughts. You may have suicidal thoughts like I did. You may want to just quit. But don't give up and die in the cocoon. Become the butterfly. And become your new true identity, which is your true self, which really is spirit. The butterfly no longer lives on the ground as a caterpillar. It now flies. This, folks, was the example we were given. Isn't it amazing? It's so amazing how a caterpillar can teach us what life really is about. That's all I got for you today. Let's continue to clear the wreckage together. Next week, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I know it's going to be juicy and good. And we're still in the dark phases. We're still in the darkness. I'm still in the cocoon. So that's what I'm leaving you off with. I am still in the cocoon. I did not become a butterfly yet. So next week, we'll continue to discuss what darkness felt like. But until then, don't forget, as I always leave you, take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.